Hey guys, so we're at Super Rugby round 9. This is the review for this past weekend. Interesting weekend of rugby. I actually got 4 out of 6 correct on my superbru. But first things first, I've got to say big shout out to 2 Cents Rugby. He sent me Blues flag over here. I swapped him with Bulls flag for the Blues flag over here, and I've put it pride place here in all my videos. So thanks 2 Cents for a great flag. But let's chat about this past weekend. So first game of the weekend was the Crusaders versus the Highlanders. I did watch this game on Friday morning. Look, that Crusaders outfit is absolutely impressive. I think a well-deserved victory for them. The one thing that I have to say about the game was I don't know what the situation is, because at one point the Crusaders had at least 5 penalties within 5 minutes in the 22, and all they got is a warning on the fifth one. If it was a ref like Jaco Piper or Angus Gardner, by the 3rd time they would have got their warning, and there would have been a yellow card. And there were 2 incidences in that game where the Crusaders had 5 penalties within 5 minutes, and anywhere else there would have been players would have been sent off. And having a player sent off in the last 20 seconds, or as the hooter goes, really means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. Look, I'm not saying the Crusaders would have lost, because they do up at a certain gear. It just feels that we put the Crusaders on such a high pedestal, and deservedly so, because they're so good, that we tend to forget that maybe we hold them to such a high standard that maybe we gloss over a few things and we don't notice that they do these kind of things. But I think there was a penalty count of 17 or 18. Any other game in Super Rugby, there would have been more, at least two yellow cards during the game, not just that one right at the end. But yeah, still, well-deserved victory for the Crusaders. They are well out in the lead of everybody else. I don't think there's a team that's come even close to them. Next game of the weekend, my first superbru destruction. So I predicted the Rebels would win this game, but the Stormers pulled it out, 41-24. Excellent game. It was such a brilliant game. I'm so happy for the Stormers. Actually, I promised people that if the Stormers won, I'd put on the Stormers cap. So there we go, Stormers cap on. So I watched the game. I was highly impressed. There's been this little thing. There's been a lot of talk in the news lately about the Springboks and the rest that they have. I look at it a little bit differently. And New Zealand have the same policy. Australia have the same policy. I just think this is Super Rugby, and I know the Springbok players, those X Factor players, do bring something a little bit more special to the game. But the team should still be cohesive, even with 1 or 2 Springboks out there. We so quickly say, oh, Dwayne Vermeulen wasn't playing, that's why they lost, or Andre Pollard wasn't there. At the end of the day, it's a team sport, and one person doesn't make a team. Yes, they can maybe bring one or 2 extra % to their position, but let's be honest, this is Super Rugby, and each of the teams should be equal regardless of if they lose their players or not. The Crusaders don't say the same thing when they lose not Richie Mo'unga, but they lose their All Blacks. They seem to still pull it out of the bag. But yeah, just goes to prove that no Sia Khaleesi, no Eben Etzebeth, no Pieter-Steph du Toit, and they still pull the victory out of the bag. So using that as an excuse going forward, I don't think it's an excuse. But still, well-deserved victory for the Stormers. I thought Quade Cooper had a shocker of a game. Quade Cooper is that kind of player. I know Will Guinea also didn't play that well, but I know Quade Cooper needs a really good 9 and 12 on either side of him. So if he does have a little bit of a dip in form, which he did have, then the other two players can compensate for it. But yeah, it was an absolute shocker of a game. But let's be honest, next 6 games he'll be fine. And yeah, next game was the Chiefs versus the Blues. For me, the absolute best game this past weekend, probably the whole Super Rugby so far. It was the absolute best game. So tight, so close. I thought the Chiefs were a bit better on the day, but yeah, two equally matched sides. And if anybody really go try find that game to go watch. It highly entertaining. I watch a lot of Premiership games, and I watch a lot of I watch some top 14 games and Pro 14 games. And if you really want to see what Super Rugby is at its absolute best, watch that game. The Chiefs versus the Blues. It was 33-29. It's high scoring, high defence, real intense derby. So yeah, for an absolute advert for how good Super Rugby can be, that's the game. That's the game to watch. For me, standout players, I'm really starting to like Anton Brown. I've liked him last year. The only problem for him is he's just so good at all the positions that he always ends up 23 on the bench. But yeah, the guy's he's incredible. He's got such good skills, such a great skill set that I'm highly impressed. I'm devastated for Damien McKenzie with the ACL injury. It looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the year, which is that's really difficult. It's really hard. I feel for the guy because he was the third playmaker that was going to be included in the squad. So yeah, not there at the moment. Next game, we've got the Brumbies versus the Lions, and I actually had predicted that the Brumbies would win this game, and they did. I just think the Sharks not the Lions are missing so many of their big players. Warren Whiteley's not there, so they don't even have that upper leadership anymore. For me, I think the loss of Frank Mostert has hurt them immensely, and if you see his form, and they say he's one of the best locks playing in the Premiership at the moment. He's a world-class lock, and work rate, big engine, and I think without him, and look, taking nothing away from the Brumbies, the Lions are just not the same side they were these last couple of years, and they've got some young guys coming through. So yeah, I just think there's too much relying on Malcolm Marx, and yeah, other people just not stepping up. Next game of the weekend, I actually didn't watch this game. I just had on the I was working this whole weekend, so I could only watch games when I could. But I went through and checked the score every now and again, and I just thought, what the hell? But it's the same old Sharks, consistently inconsistent. Don't know what the hell it is. So they win, lose, but they win convincingly, and then they lose abysmally. So yeah, I don't know. It's the ever-ending roller coaster with the Sharks. Probably all the South African sides are a roller coaster, but the Sharks are just on another level kind of roller coaster, because the point spread difference between last week, which was over 40, and this last weekend, which was over 50 against them, that's a 90-point swing. That's huge. So yeah, I'm not impressed. I just think that the Sharks are better than that. But credit to the Highlanders. I saw some of those Matera trials. I saw some of the highlights, and I thought, wow, absolutely incredible. The Highlanders have been building for years and years and years. Last year, they were on that great form of run in Australasia. This year, they're starting to beat South African sides at home, which they didn't do last year. So yeah, I think the Highlanders are there, and I have a feeling they will make the knockouts this year comfortably. And and it'll be so great to have them in the knockouts. Because it just goes to show that when you bring a new side, and it does take quite a while for them to mature into it, and now they finally are there. I shouldn't say finally, they've been there for a while, but this year they should get to the knockouts. Last game of the weekend, which I watched it live, the Bulls versus the Reds. What can I say about this game? It wasn't the greatest game in the world. I don't think the Bulls played well. I think they were a better team than the Reds. Only I think it's Karevia Kurandrani, or I think it's the only really good player for the Reds. But yeah, the Bulls outmuscled them. A few issues at scrum time for the Bulls, but yeah, I think the Bulls were a much better team on the side. My favourite player, Ochia Snyman, he played, for me, one of the informed best locks playing in South Africa currently. For a while, I've thought him and Lotejaga are probably the best locks in South Africa. The offloading game that he has, and for a type 5 forward, you can see it with Type Furlong. Brody Retallick, they pass like backs. You know, the ball arrives and they pass it out straight away. And Archie Stammen has exactly the same skill level as that. Passes very, very quickly. So he almost becomes like a backline player, but he's got the bulk and the size. So yeah, well-deserved victory for the Bulls. They are top of the South African log. For me, I still think they're probably the South African side that can probably do the best. But I'm just going to go through the table quickly. So I've got that here. I'm just going to move it out of the side here so I can actually see the points. So obviously, top of the log, we've got the Crusaders, literally 11 points ahead of the next closest rival, which would be the Bulls on 23, and then the Rebels on 23. The Bulls just have a better point difference between the two things. But for the first time in a long time in Super Rugby, we actually have the top 3 teams are the top 3 teams in the conferences. So and normally it's normally always if you took the points, it's normally three New Zealand sides, then one of the others, and then another New Zealand side, and then one of the others. So yeah, for the first time in a long time, the conferences are that close. There is one team that's out and out the best, and that's the Crusaders. But if I look here, the difference in between points between second place and 9th place, you know, is 5 points. So literally a bonus point win, you could jump up. So between 2 and 9, the table is close. There's only 5 points between the top and the bottom of the African Conference. So yeah, exceptionally tight. Like I said, one team is the out and out favourite, and then the rest we're all fighting for these spots. But yeah, guys, otherwise a great weekend of rugby. I thought there was some beautiful tries this weekend, well-worked tries, well-worked victories. But what were your overall impressions of the weekend? Were you happy with the games? Were you happy with some of the ref calls? I wasn't happy with some of the games. But listen, guys, I hope you guys have a great week and chat soon. Cheers. Bye.